is set as public. So apparently we're live now.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I don't know who's on at the moment. I can't see any names or anything.
Can you see any comments? Because some, oh my God, that comment might have come up early.
Yeah.
Oh, the van's rocking. Oh my God, that comment might have come up early.
Oh, it's probably a couple of minutes delayed on the phone. I think. Let me turn the volume down. Turn the volume down on the phone. That's it. Yeah, if I don't get them on the screen here, obviously I can pick them up on the phone if need be. A couple of people are saying hello. Hello. How you doing? Nice to see you.
Can you see that comment?
I can see a couple of comments on my phone. They haven't come up on the screen here.
Oh, right. Okay. Hello everybody that's watching so far. As you can see, Greg's on. Even Mevy joined us. What? This must be a special day if Mevy's watching one of my live streams.
I see Vince has just said hello. Hello, Vince. All right. How you doing? Just going down the list of people who are saying hello.
Hi, Def Jeff, Man of Mystery. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I hope everybody's all right. Luke's Vanlife.
Oh, blimey. They're going up so quick I can't read them.
Yeah, Greg. Apparently, you paid Mevy to. No,
I gave him a tenner.
Yeah. Yeah, the comments are
flying up there. Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Really nice to see you. Yeah. There's so many comments going up there. I'm just going to say a blanket hello to everybody. Thanks for coming on. It's a bit of an unusual one for us, though, isn't it? Because I know we've met, but we haven't really had a chance to have a chat, have we? So,
no, we've only been chatting on WhatsApp and Instagram recently, haven't we?
Yeah. I think we met at obviously my leaving do, but that was only a brief handshake, wasn't it?
Yeah. Did we meet? Did you go to the Boondockers as well?
Yeah, I was at the Boondockers, but I don't think we got a chance to have a chat there. Right, yeah. We only came for like the one night, the famous one night, where we was up till like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning having a drink. But yeah,
I was in bed by about 10:30,
or awake as it happens.
Jeez, bit windy, isn't it? Yeah, Vince, I think I'm getting the brunt of it where I'm parked. I wish I'd stayed in Sheffield where I could have been sheltered.
Oh, Debs has just put, have I had a haircut? Yeah, I've had it, especially for today's live stream, actually.
Wow. What happens if the van is struck by lightning? Do you want to answer that one?
I don't know. I wouldn't like to be inside it, to be honest.
Liam peaked early at Boondockers. I always peak early. I'm not a nighttime party animal for the most part, especially in muddy fields.
I think because we was only going to be up there for one night because I had a load of problems at work on the Friday. We were due to come up on Friday, and then I had a massive flood on this job.
I remember that actually.
And so we didn't come up actually until the Sunday, and then we just stayed one night. So it was kind of like all or nothing. We'd driven about 5 miles just to camp for one evening. So I think that's why we ended up making the most of it.
It was still good though, wasn't it? It was still a good.
Yeah, good. Yeah, really good. I mean, that's the only thing about now, isn't it? Is obviously not being able to do the meetups and things like that because they are really good, aren't they?
Yeah, this year basically has just been wiped out now, hasn't it? Yeah. As far as any events go. You know it's serious when they cancel the football.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
And McDonald's closes.
Well, we was only going to come. Obviously, the only reason we were coming back was for the Stratford do and for Quirky Campers. So
yeah,
that's all been cancelled.
Yeah, I forgot about the Stratford one as well. That would have been this week, wouldn't it?
Yeah, 25th, 26th.
Oh, right, okay, a few weeks then.
A couple of weeks time, yeah.
I don't remember dates. I'm not very good with it. when I was invited to the Stratford meet, it was like September, and I was like, I'm not making any plans that far.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I won't remember. I'll forget. So remind me the day before, and I'll try and come down. I think the police are amazing. If that's a reference to my latest video, the police have been really good, genuinely really good. I can't fault them. For anybody that thinks that any of my videos have been antagonistic towards the police, that's quite the opposite. I've had nothing but respect for Derbyshire police in the way they've handled us.
Yeah, I thought today's video was sort of like turned everything round a little bit, didn't it? I mean, I know probably the previous ones were getting a lot of negative comments and that, but yeah, today's one was good actually.
I think a lot of people misunderstood the context as well, like because the PCSOs weren't, and the police even acknowledged in that video that the PCSOs were not very good. I think people just took that as I had a problem with authority or something. When I mean, I guess I kind of do, but not. Like I said in another video, I've got a bad attitude towards bad attitudes. If somebody comes to me in a positive way, then I'll react in a positive way. But if people are trying,
absolutely. I mean, that's just a natural reaction, though, isn't it? If someone comes at you, you're going to defend yourself, aren't you?
So, when did you head back from Portugal? Then did you go as far? Did you go? You didn't go to Morocco, did you?
No, we was tempted to because we met with Eamon and Beck at Tarifa, and they were trying to talk us into going. But obviously, we'd already committed ourselves to be out with the other guys, so there's no way I was going to leave them high and dry and then just bugger off with Eamon and Beck. So it would have been nice, but no. So no, we didn't go in the end. But we'd done a fair old trip though. We was out October time, I think it was. We went all the way down through France. We did all of northern Italy, but this was before Christmas. It's sort of November time. I'm glad it was before Christmas. And then we came back in from northern Italy into southern France. And then we met up with John and Mandy, obviously, and then came down through Spain with them all the way down to southern Spain into Portugal. And then was about halfway up Portugal when those guys had to go home a bit earlier and sort of left us on our own. But then we had Paul and Sue Brown. They were coming down. First time they'd been out in their van. So we met up with them in northern Portugal and then come back down again. So we've been up and down Portugal about 3 times.
Wow.
And then we was always due to come back anyway for the Stratford do. So really, in effect, we only came back a couple of weeks before we was due to come back anyway.
Oh, right. Okay. So when did you actually get back then into England?
Just over 2 weeks ago, because we've just literally this Friday is our last day of our 2 weeks quarantine. So we've been held up in the van here, literally in the van on Lou's mum and dad's drive, basically. Yeah. On a busy residential street, so it's not glamorous by any means. Yeah. And we've literally been sat in the van for 2 weeks.
You take the rough with the smooth in van life, don't you? Sometimes you have to park it.
Yeah.
Were there any places that you stayed that weren't that good in like on your Europe trip?
We had a couple of there was a couple of dodgy ones. I must admit, there was ones we down through France. I think it was Albufeira. We tried to park in the town, and a lot of the towns and that we normally avoid because they're not very motorhome friendly, or a lot of the car parks just exclude you, or they've got height restrictions. And we pulled into a small little, it wasn't there, I think it was on Park for Night, a little car park there. And there was loads of kids coming through all dressed up in fancy dress, teenagers obviously going to a party or something like that, literally coming past the van at about 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock tea time-ish. And then we just thought, no, hang on a minute. Once that party kicks out, they're all going to be coming back, all pissed up and that. Yeah. So we thought, no, we can't have that because you'd just be banging on the van or whatever. So that was one. We thought, nah, we'll move somewhere else. And we ended up driving off further down the coast and got a tiny little remote park up on the cliff. But having said, we haven't had many at all, to be honest. I mean, it's so easy to find a park up in Europe. Really easy.
I've only been to France and Belgium and Holland myself, and France is dead easy to find places to park. But
they're so well kitted up for it, though, aren't they? Which is rare. They're so well kitted up for it with the airs and all that sort of thing, aren't they? I mean, I know some of the airs, they're not very scenic, they're boring, they're a bit of a car park, but at least you're getting free services and all that kind of thing, which is brilliant, really. You can't argue with that. And it's one thing, well, I think anyway, that it's where we're lacking here in the UK, and it kind of like leads on to why we've got so many problems here in the UK, because we don't provide for people in motorhomes or camper vans like they do in Europe. You know, we don't make provision for it. So you're going to get the problems because we exclude it. You know, you can't park on seafronts, you can't park in certain car parks, you can't sleep overnight anywhere.
Yeah.
So where do they expect people to go? They're not going to. There's no way they're going to squash van life or stop people living in their motorhomes.
No.
That is always going to happen. It always has done.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, they just need to see sense really and start making some proper provisions.
It's all a bit of a grey area, isn't it? Like even the interactions we've had with the police here, putting the COVID-19 thing to one side, they for some reason seem to think that if we are classed as travellers, they can move us on, but if we are just van dwellers, then it's a different subject and they can't move us on at all. Now, to me, that seems a little bit discriminatory, doesn't it? Because
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
What really is the difference between me and my van and a traveller, an Irish traveller in his van parked next to me? One can be moved on.
There isn't any difference, is there?
No, that's something that I've learned in the last week or so, that it's not on that. I don't really get it, but maybe somebody in the comments can answer that one. Why one person in a van can be moved on but another can't, and it's based on essentially their ethnicity. But
it was good of Bristol Council. I don't know whether you saw that post that's been doing the rounds on social media. Apparently they opened up there with some free services. I don't know whether it was a public toilet or something like that. But even so, you know, for them to do that, that's a really good move. You know, step in the right direction.
But Bristol has got a sort of problem with van lifers, hasn't it? As in, I think from what I gather anyway, there's a fuckload of people living in vans on residential streets in Bristol. So to me, that sounds like a bit of a problem as well, because
yeah, sure.
At least we're out of the way, away from villages, away from towns, away from cities. Whereas if not necessarily me or you, but if me or you were like house dwellers all our lives, and then all of a sudden you had 20 vans lined up your street with generators outside, and they've got the sticks outside and the bags of rubbish outside.
I really understand that side of it. Yeah, completely. The trouble is with England, it's such a small country with a massive population. It's overcrowded, really. That's the issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
There isn't the space to do it. You go abroad, Spain, Portugal even, it's so densely populated, there's land everywhere, isn't there?
Yeah. So when you've come back, when you've set off towards England from Portugal, have you had any problems getting back, or any hassle issues, anything that is not normal because of this COVID thing?
To be honest, we didn't have any problems at all. We were worried. You know, you're bound to be when you hear that the country's closing its borders and things like that, and the police are on the border. It definitely does make you concerned. I won't say that we weren't worried, because we were. I'd done a lot of research, and I'd gone online and looked at what we needed to get across the various borders. I'd downloaded some forms that we needed to get across France. So I'd done a little bit of homework, which made it a bit easier. And then fortunately as well, we had Roy, who'd done the van tour video with his van. He's obviously a Portuguese resident, and he was a massive help to us. You know, he was following what we were doing and where we were. And he actually rang the local GNR, and he rang the local council, and he was feeding back information to us. So it's so handy to have him there to help us out, to be honest.
So what sort of forms did you need then? Was it just literally like forms that said, this is where we're from, we're trying to get back there?
It was basically a statement, a declaration to say that was your intent, was to go back to the UK, so that you weren't. There was only 4 things that you could travel for. Medical reasons, repatriation. There's 4 different things, so you had to basically just tick that box to say that you're travelling through that country solely for the purpose of going home, and sign the declaration. The police filled it all out. They put all your passport details and all that kind of thing on there. So it was pretty straightforward, to be honest. And then the Spanish police, when we come out of Portugal on that border there, we were on the main motorway, 3 lanes of motorway, literally come to a load of concrete barriers across the motorway, and then come off to take you off the slip road. Thought, oh, here we go. Like, we went off the slip road down onto this little roundabout, and then there was just a handwritten sign in like red crayon saying España with an arrow. It was really pathetic, like this sign. And so we turned left there, and sure enough, we went up to what was the old hard border between Spain and Portugal. So there was a little border crossing building there that they'd reopened, and then they could control it all a bit more easily, I suppose.
Yeah, it must be difficult when the borders are like that, how they can control people coming and going. Like, we're kind of lucky in the UK in some ways. I don't think a lot of people understand how lucky we are in the UK to have a proper border. we've got 25 miles of sea. You know what I mean?
Yeah, all the time that we've been in Europe, and we've driven, I don't know, nearly 9,000 miles on this last trip through 7 different countries, and we have never ever been asked for our passport or any of our documents at all in the whole time. And that was the only time coming back, because they closed the borders. That was the only time we got asked for any paperwork. So, yeah.
I guess the other benefit of us being in the EU as well, that when we had the freedom of movement back then, I don't know if we've still got that now. Well, probably not now. But yeah, the freedom of movement thing is a massive thing, isn't it?
Well, obviously, in the 27 EU countries, you can literally just drive from one to the other without that border control. So, hence why we've been able to do what we do. It's only when you go outside of those EU countries then you get some border control. But the borders were fine, absolutely fine. They filled one form in on the Portuguese and Spanish border when we crossed that one. So that was no problem. And then the police did say to us that we had 24 hours to get across Spain. They would only allow us to be in Spain for 1 day. But we'd already planned it so that we'd got up quite early in northern Spain in the morning.
Yeah.
We were going to do that border, drive across Spain, and do the French border all in 1 day. We'd already planned we weren't going to stop in Spain, obviously, because of the risk.
Yeah.
Because at that time, they had it really bad, almost as bad as Italy. So it was of a concern not to stay any longer there than we absolutely had to.
So how did you go about shopping and stuff then, and getting food? And did you already have that on you, or?
Yeah, we already had that on board. That was really good, actually, because as soon as the COVID thing came up, Portugal really jumped on it really quick.
Yeah.
And it was weeks ago that they closed the schools down. It was like 2 weeks before the Easter holiday. And that's right from kindergarten right through to university. So all those kids went home. They allowed one of the adults of the family, if you've got kids 13 and under, you could obviously come away from work to look after your kids, and they would pay you the 80% of your salary or whatever in order to do that. And they put that in place literally straight away. So that cut that out. And then obviously all the shops, all the supermarkets were open, but they had a security guard on the supermarket front. They were only allowing so many people in, one out. There was no arguments about it. People were standing outside, respecting everybody's distance and all that. And this was weeks and weeks ago.
Yeah, I've been into Sheffield today to go see my daughter and to do my washing and to do some shopping. And I forgot that most of the supermarkets were closed today, but the smaller express shops, Tesco Express and that, they were all the same. Security guard on. There were 10 people, all 2 meters apart, queued up outside. When one went out, another one went in. And quite well organised, to be fair.
And everybody in the shops, in the supermarkets and that, everybody had PPE on, gloves, face masks. And even some of the shops, they put a batten up around the cashier's desk with a polythene screen, basically. So made like a cubicle for the cashier inside, which I thought was great, because they must see such a footfall of people past them, through those checkouts. I wouldn't want to be a checkout person. I applaud people, to be honest, for doing that job, and you're putting yourself right in the front line there, aren't you?
I've been saying for a while about the some of the rules on exercise, where you can only go out for an hour and or whatever, or one exercise a day, and people getting sort of shamed online for going out in parks, like in country parks, to walk their dogs for miles, nowhere near anybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
Supermarket, and potentially, like Janice on checkout, potentially has contact with 500 people.
Yeah,
That's still going on. I don't understand why, especially because England seems to have reacted very late to this.
Absolutely.
Why we've still got markets open in the way that we have, that one person on a checkout can be in contact with 500 people. Because it just makes no sense, really.
But they did abroad as well. I mean, that was Portugal and Spain all the way back through. Is all the garages and the petrol stations, they shut all the shops. So you could either pay on the pump with your credit card, which most of them, if they had credit card pumps on the petrol station shut. The shop was shut completely. So you couldn't even go in there. There wasn't even a cashier there. And then the ones where it was pay at the desk, they just used the nightstand, you know, like through the window with the little box thing. So the shop was shut. You couldn't go in the shop. And you just had to pay at the window. But here, all of the shops are still open. I mean, I went to get some LPG the other day for me heater, and there's people still in and out of the shop like normal. You know, it's like
where I did my laundry today, it's one of those outdoor laundry things, a petrol station, and because all the main shops were closed, I did my shopping in the Spa petrol station shop. Now, there was no security guard on the door there. There was probably 20 people in there, all doing the shopping. There was a screen up where the checkout was, but the guy on the checkout had gloves on, so he was touching every single thing, and everybody's gloves on, and touching people's cards and passing people cigarettes and all that kind of stuff. And we were just all stood together, and I was kind of like keeping a distance, but then people would just come stand next to me in the queue. So we're not really.
What we've tried to do, I mean, we did it on the way back when we were travelling back in the van, and all the other guys did as well that were with us. And if we had to go through a toll, or if we had to go to the petrol station and fill up, which we did a few times, we'd only use that card. I'd try and use it in the machine. We all had gloves, and then we'd sanitise the credit card, and you know, everything. Just do as much as you can, you know.
I guess in some ways, though, it's a difficult transition for everybody to go from living a life that they've lived for forever. Well, in fact, life probably has not been much different since the Second World War. From what I don't know if you were alive then, I wasn't. But, but like
before my time,
like life's changed completely. So you can't expect everybody to get it right first time. Like I'm probably not washing my hands as much as I should do, but still trying to do it more. I'm not sanitizing things probably as much as I should do, but I'm trying to do it more. And you've got to like reprogram yourself to like cleaning your phone or cleaning your bank card and things like that. You never think to do that, but your mobile phone is probably the thing that you carry around with you the most that could potentially carry germs.
The other thing I noticed with especially yourself, because when I've watched the last couple of your videos and that, is this, isn't it? Stroking the old beard. I mean, that's the one for you, isn't it?
Not help it.
I do it all the time, doesn't it? I mean, even I do. You know, you subconsciously, you just like if you're thinking you're doing this or whatever, or you're biting your nails, or you know, you can't help it.
I've got hay fever, so I'm always rubbing my nose, always, and again, always rubbing my beard, always playing with my hair, and I have to sometimes just sit with my hands down and think, right, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And then once I start like talking in a video or whatever, it's just natural to just. I don't know if it's nerves or something as well, but.
No, it's just one of those things, isn't it? So we're all guilty of it, but it's only times like this you realise potentially what you could be doing, you know, especially when you're out and about.
I've seen some images and videos online recently of people sat eating bags of crisps with the gloves on. They've been touching these gloves on, and then they just go, "I'll have a bag of crisp."
Well, that was the thing that we thought, you know, at the border crossings, especially when we were coming back, because obviously the police are protecting themselves. They've got gloves on. Some of them had masks, some of them didn't. But they've thousands of people going through there, and they're like touching one passport, giving it you back, and touching the next passport, giving that back to them, and they're just transferring it from one person to the next. You know, I thought that was terrible.
They touch a day.
Crazy.
Yeah. And again, that's how it's spreading, isn't it? So unfortunately, we're never going to be able to help it or stop it because there's so many people.
Well, at the end of the day, you're always going to have to get food. You're always going to have to get petrol. There's going to be key workers that have got to go to work.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be that crossover between people that have got it and people that haven't got it. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, the only thing they're trying to do is obviously just minimise how quick it's going to spread. So.
Yeah. The packet.
To what you were saying earlier about you'd been out to do your washing and that, because we've had a bit of a problem, to be honest, when we came back with the laundries over here being shut. So have you found a way around it? Or?
It's one of those drive up to laundries that you drive.
No, like the external ones, like in petrol stations.
Yeah, it costs a bit more, but to be fair, I can pull right next to it. Literally, the washing machine's at my door. Come in here, carry on with what I'm doing, editing or filming or making some dinner or a coffee and that, and my washing's just doing there. So it's just convenient.
There's quite a few of those about now, isn't there? I mean, I know where there is one local here, but we came back and we tried a couple of local laundrettes. The only one I could see was open online was up at the University of Essex. They got a laundry on campus there, obviously, but then you need to have a card from the student union or the student reception, so we couldn't do that. And then there was fortunately one laundrette down the road here, and went in and managed to get our washing done there. But the guy was saying there's been absolutely nobody coming in to do their laundry, so it was the last day he was going to open, and then he was shut.
Wow! I'll tell you something quite interesting. That so you know how it's only like essential workers or essential shops or essential trades that are still going. I've got a problem, a serious problem that I cannot get fixed, and hold on. Oh,
right, key broken off. Yeah.
Not my van key because they're quite weak anyway, and I always carry a spare, but now I've only got one, and if this snaps now, I'm screwed. And I don't know when.
You can do, have you got breakdown? Have you got breakdown cover?
Yeah, but will they won't replace locks though, will they?
Well, I guess whether it's. I mean, the other thing is, I mean, they probably have contacts for 24-hour auto repair guys and things like that. I can imagine there's got to be somebody doing a 24-hour emergency service on that kind of thing, isn't there? There's going to be 24-hour locksmiths, isn't there?
There are mobile locksmiths, but I've been trying to get hold of some, and most of them have stopped working.
Yeah.
So that's my mission for this week, is to get a spare for that, because, like I say, if that snaps, I'm fucked. It's just things like that. Like,
absolutely, yeah.
Key cutting service, you kind of would think would be essential, wouldn't you? Because, well, I suppose it depends on what you would consider essential. Now, it's essential to me right now, so.
Well, yeah, I mean, if somebody locks themselves out of their house, they've got to get in there, or they lose their keys down a drain or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Shall we have a break from gassing between us and try?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. have a quick squint through some of the questions, if you like.
Yeah. If anybody wants to ask Greg a question,
I did have a couple. I mean, there was a couple which I can just read through now. Before we came on, there was a couple of comments that were left in the community tab. So,
all right, cool, yeah.
Ali Davidson, hi Ali. She's asked me, obviously now that we're back here, isolation, we're in the workshop, obviously, or I'm parked right outside. Are we going to be doing any videos from the workshop? So yeah, the answer to that is yes. I have got probably about half a dozen lined up workshop videos I'm going to be putting out, because not only does it keep me busy and stop me being bored, but obviously it's good content for you guys sitting there. You want something to watch. So yeah, you can look forward to some videos coming out in the next couple of weeks. Another guy, Nordcap, he said, what were the options for us staying out in Portugal and not coming back? Because I'm aware that there are a couple of people still out in Europe. And it was something that we thought about, whether we could have done that. We were sitting in a fairly nice sort of isolated park up at the time. We had local services. There was a local supermarket and things like that. And we could have done, pretty much what you guys are doing, isolate ourselves and go for food, water and that kind of thing. And we wouldn't have been in harm's way at all. But the deciding factor for us is like twofold, really, is how long was this thing going to go on for? So that's complete unknown, and it could go on for months. I don't know. So did we really want to be stuck in one position for that length of time, miles away from home? Obviously, we've got family here. I've got two kids. Really want to be stuck in one position for that length of time, miles away from home. I can hear that playing back. Yeah, I've got two kids here. I've got a young grandson as well. Obviously, my mum's here. She's got terminal cancer. She's not very well. She's probably in a very high risk situation. And my grandma's still alive, bless her. She's 99. She'll be 100 in May, and she's in a care home. So I've got all this family that do I really want to be 2,500 miles away from if things happen? So that was one thing. And then finally, the straw that broke the camel's back really was our health insurance was due for renewal on the 24th of April. Wow. We had a worldwide policy, really good policy, covered us for everything, really good cover on that. But because we were going to be back for Stratford and Camp Quirky, we only took it out until the end of April. And then that would have then meant that we had no health insurance at all. So if we'd have fallen ill or needed hospital treatment or something like that, the only thing I could have relied on was the NIC card. I don't know how good that is, to be honest. I didn't really want to put myself in that situation. So for us personally, I think staying in Portugal just wasn't an option for us. You know, it would have been nice to sit on a beach and whatever, but that's you know, under the circumstances, I think that's I'm dreaming a little bit if that was going to be the case.
Plus, like you say, you don't know how long this thing's going to go on for. It could be another 6 months.
Yeah, and to be honest, we've got family here, and if anything happens to them, I'd want to be here. And I had one other question. Joe Gillett asked me, is a technical question about charging batteries. 3 ways of charging batteries: split charge, mains charger, and solar. Is it okay to connect all 3 to your batteries? Yeah, perfectly all right, because the simple answer to that is if you're driving, you're using your split charge, you're not on a hookup, and you're not using your mains charge. So those 2, you'd only be using one or the other. And then the solar, if it's connected to your batteries and your batteries are on charge, your solar controller will see a higher voltage and it will back off anyway. So yeah, absolutely fine, Joe, just no problem at all. And you can watch my latest video on wiring your van and that will give you all the information that you need. I've got a couple of questions for you actually, Liam, if that's all right.
Go on then.
Only because no pressure. I've watched some of your later videos, but I don't know your background, so it'd be interesting from my point of view. I mean, us getting into van life was a choice. You know, we had a home, we both had full-time jobs, and van life for us was a decision that we made for a way that we could do long-term travel and kind of like take an early semi-retirement, if you like. But how did you get into that?
Well, this is a right uninteresting story. Well, it's probably an interesting story to those that are interested in it. So basically, I lived in a house, like everybody else, in a relationship with children and all that kind of thing. And I had a camper van, which was the T5, which I originally moved into. But my intention was never, ever to live in a van. It was to buy a boat. So I was about to buy a boat, and then the relationship sort of... Well, actually, I'm not being disrespectful towards the person I was in a relationship with, so I might as well just say it. Basically, we were ready to buy a boat, and then the other person backed out and said, actually, I don't think I want to live on a boat. And by that point, I'd already gone through all the YouTubers, learned everything there was about canal boats, and I was gutted about it. And then things were a bit rocky, and then it ended. And basically, I drove away in my camper van because that was my vehicle. And if you scroll back all the way to my first van videos, basically I say, right, well, this has happened now. I might try and live in the van for a few weeks while I save some money. And then sort of as things went on, I was like, actually, I could stay in this for another couple of months. And then once I was getting paid from my job and not having to give that money away, I was like, oh, actually, maybe I'm onto something here. So then I bought a boat as well. Lived on the boat as well a little bit, but then I didn't really like the boat thing because it was limiting. So then
you're limited to where you can go with it, aren't you? I suppose.
Yeah. But the T5 obviously is a small van. So I bought this on a bit of a whim, so I could stand up in it and have obviously more space in it. And then it was August 2018 when I first moved out of a house. So it's been a while, and I've always said, like, I could move back into a house tomorrow. I'm not suggesting that van life is my life. It is just
exactly. Yeah, I think it's the same as us, really. It's the same sort of time because we moved out of our house in July 2018.
Yeah,
like a month before you. Yeah.
Wow.
And we've always said, once we've sort of done with travelling and things like that, we probably will come back and set up a base back here, whether that be a house or flat or whatever. Yeah, definitely.
It's all about the adventure, isn't it? And we might do it whilst we've still got opportunity to do it. And either one of us could just move back into a house tomorrow. It's no big deal. It doesn't mean that we've failed van life or we're quitters or anything. This is just a sort of chapter, really. It's just another experience.
Yeah, it's a vehicle to allow you to do other things, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that even when I move back into a house, I'll still always have a van. I think because way before camper vans and everything, I used to have Land Rovers, and I used to make them like bug out vehicles. They used to have food in, a cooker in, all that kind of thing, and ready to go and camp out and stuff. So I've always been in that sort of.
Yeah, we've always been the same, even from like my mum and dad when we was kids and we was little. Some of my earliest memories were mum and dad, they used to have an old commer van with a pop top, and our holidays used to be going camping in that, or even in tents down to the New Forest or whatever. We'd have a 5-berth tent and go camping for a couple of weeks. So I've had that kind of in my blood anyway.
Yeah.
The camping and camper vans and all that kind of thing. And even until, when my dad passed away a couple of years ago, they still had a camper van. They had an old Bedford CF auto sleeper van. So they were still camping and doing the van life, even right up to into his 70s.
Wow.
But for us personally, it was just a means of how we could take our savings that we accrued and then eke that out, to allow us to travel and see places and experience stuff, And this was by far the best way of doing it.
I hope that when I get to an age where my child is grown up and I have got less responsibility in that way, that I can travel a lot more. But right now, I think I'm one of the van lifers that pretty much doesn't move because I'm at work or although I work sort of in the Midlands, I'm usually based in the Peak District, which is half an hour from Sheffield. So I don't very often venture too far for any length of time. Ideally, I would be doing what you're doing, going to Portugal and Italy.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, Alice is still very young, isn't she? So,
But I will get round to that in good time.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, you've got plenty of time, haven't you?
Yeah. But Vince is
going to say, obviously, like about Alice, because I'm feeling it myself at the moment. Because even though we've come back, because everybody's in isolation, I haven't been able to go and see my kids. I haven't been able to go and see my mum. I haven't been able to go and see my daughter or my grandson. I haven't been able to hold him or anything like that. Yeah. I mean, his first birthday's coming up in June, so we're wondering whether are we actually going to be able to have a birthday party for him or not, which I doubt very much because we'll probably still be in isolation then. So, how are you finding it? Obviously, not being able to see Alice.
Well, so for those people that watching this that don't know, I've spent the last 8 months through family court fighting for custody of Alice, and then about a month before this lockdown, a month before the lockdown, I got a court order to say that I can have my child. It was basically the van was the argument.
Right. Yeah, because you didn't have a property or whatever. Yeah.
So anyway, I won that essentially because the authorities had to say, well, there's no reason why you can't have a child in a van, which was a big win. But then a month after that, this lockdown happens and I can't see her again. So it's been a fucking long like what that was August last year when that started. So I've had an overnight probably 5 times in 9 months.
Yeah.
Shit. I have seen it.
I know exactly how that feels, mate.
Anyway, it's a difficult one. But again, what we've got to think about is not about, I don't get to hold my child. It's if things go wrong, you might never get to hold your child again, or
that is protecting them. But I mean, you've got technology these days, so at least you can FaceTime and things like that, can't you?
I FaceTime every single day.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
But there are people out there that are not able to go to their own family's funerals and stuff. You know what I mean? And so I guess we're kind of lucky in a way that we're not dealing with that part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't imagine that. I mean, I've heard some of the things on the news and whatever where obviously people's relatives have died in hospital and they can't even visit them in hospital. Yeah. I mean, that is tragic, isn't it?
Yeah,
I can't imagine what that's like. If you've like close family member, mum, dad, or whoever passes away and you can't go and see them, that's just horrendous.
Yeah, it's crazy. Did you have another question for me, or was that it?
No, there was I just wanted to see what we touched briefly on about the airs in Europe and the park ups, like the local councils or the local village will provide a parking area with free services, or some of them are obviously coin operated, but generally, you've got free water and a dump station there and some parking spaces. Obviously, Bristol's turned this car park around just recently, but what do you think? Is that the solution that we need to look at, or the councils over here need to start thinking about? Is that the solution for van life? Or
the airs thing for sure, like especially places like the Lake District, the Peak District, Scotland, and places like that. Why not? It's all tourism, and the easier they make it for us, the more money we're going to spend there.
That's the big key thing, isn't it? Is the tourism, because at the end of the day, if you're providing parking spaces for people to come and visit, it's not just going to be UK van lifers, it's going to be people from abroad, isn't it? They're going to come across, they want to visit these places, and they're going to end up spending their money. And I'm sure that's how they see it in Europe. They entice people in because of the boost to the economy of that local area.
Yeah, absolutely. If the Peak District or Lakes or whatever had 5 designated areas in the entire place that had a shower block where you had to pay £1 to have a shower, for example, and you had to pay add one of those laundry points. That cost me £8 to do my laundry today, and I will pay that every couple of weeks. Imagine how much revenue that brings.
Yeah, totally.
You're paying display car parks; they're going to be nothing in comparison. Do you know what I mean?
I know we were regularly. I mean, a lot of the services are free, but if we do end up paying for them, usually it's €2 or €3 to service the van, fill up with water, and do that. But we're more than happy to pay for it. That's not the question. We're not looking for everything for nothing. Do you know what I mean?
No. And I think that's something that a lot of people misunderstand about people who live in vans, who are van dwellers or van lifers or whatever. They think that we want everything for free, or that we're. I don't know if you get it very often, but quite often I think because I've got long hair and a beard, people just assume that I'm a layabout, and that they don't understand that I have got a full-time job as well as running a business and doing a YouTube channel and balancing all these other things as well.
I still get very, very, very small minority, but 1 or 2 comments about, I'm supporting your van life and I'm paying for your living and all, these kind of comments. But yeah, I'm with you on it 100%. I mean, I work, I pay income tax, I pay national insurance, I pay VAT, I pay car tax. I more than pay my way, believe me, with what my income is every year. So it's not like I'm dropped out of society and I'm just sponging on everybody. Completely the opposite, to be honest.
It's just crazy, isn't it? Really, like. But again, that's just the stigma, and I've made videos about the stigma before. When I was going through the family court, imagine what I was up against going to a fucking judge to say, "Oh, I live in a van," and then
Yeah,
going
you get that traveller stigma, don't you? And that's the thing. I suppose people that look at van life as, and there are a few that look at it that way. But that's unfortunate, because it's definitely not. That's
again.
definitely not the case. A lot of people that we know and that we've travelled with and whatever, it's a lifestyle choice.
Yeah,
they've got money in the bank or whatever. They're not on the breadline. Okay, I appreciate there is quite a lot of people that get into van life because that is their only choice, because they can't afford a house or whatever, or they are on a low income or low wage, and it's a way for them to have some freedom and their own house, a mobile house, admittedly. But I appreciate there's a lot of people do it for that reason, but that's not the reason why we chose to do it. And quite a few others that are in the same boat as me, that are near retirement age, have worked all their life, got a little bit of money in the bank, and just want to do it because I want to travel. I want to enjoy myself.
Yeah, and you cannot. For somebody like me, I presume you're not working anymore, are you? You've semi-retired.
I do. I'm not working full time. I haven't worked full time since July 2018, but I do take on short-term contracts.
Yeah. But somebody like myself who still works full time, the amount of money that you don't have to give away every month is just
absolutely, yeah.
crazy. Like, I don't understand why everybody doesn't live in a van. Do you know what I mean? It's just fucking mental. People look down on me for living in a van, yet I don't have to pay £1,000 a month out in bills and rent.
Yeah, we've gone through the whole cycle of having mortgages, and I've even rented places as well. But having to pay like £1,500 a month in rent and bills for a house that you don't own, but the house that I've got parked outside here, I own outright. So it doesn't cost me anything other than the insurance and diesel.
Yeah. I am conscious that we are babbling on a bit, but I do apologise to everybody leaving comments. I am trying to read the comments at the same time and trying to pin ones that I do like the look of. But let's try and go through some comments a minute again, if we can. I don't want to leave people out. I kind of, Fire Angel. To be fair, as soon as I said that comment, I realised that I don't want everybody to live in a van. Fuck that. I don't understand why more people don't choose alternative lifestyles. That's for sure. I don't want everybody to live in vans though. Like, keep that to a minimum. How did Greg learn his skills?
I originally did a 2-year building and civil engineering course. I wanted to be an architect originally. Then I went into building services, specialised in building services, then did a further 6 years at university studying that. And then I've worked in the industry for 30 years, doing heating, hot and cold water services, air conditioning, ventilation, for designing them and building them for large commercial buildings.
Wow.
Worked in London most of my life. So, yeah, it just comes from life experience most of it.
Yeah. Living in a van is the only way I can afford to retire. Wow. That shows a bit of sort of the state of the fucking country as well. And I
can totally understand that with the state of the pensions and things like that, obviously. And it was one of the things that we decided to do, because I definitely didn't want to be working full time right up until retirement age. And this was a means for us to do that. I mean, I'm 52, so I'm still relatively young, I think, anyway, to be able to be in the position I am now. But the only way that we've been able to do that, obviously, is to work hard initially. We tucked a load of money away in the bank, and that's what we're living off. And obviously the small revenue that we get from YouTube. But being in the van means that we can eke that out, So,
how much do you earn from YouTube?
How much income do I get? Is that what the question was?
No, I'm just asking you that. I'm just wondering if you're one of them people that shies away from that question, or you're just open to
No, not at all. It's nowhere near what people think it is. People think I've got 70,000 subscribers and I must be minted. It's not at all, because it all goes on views. And there's a lot of people out there that have got way less subscribers than I have and making actually more money than I am, because they put out content more regularly or whatever. But yeah, I'll be totally honest with you. My YouTube revenue for the ad revenue is about £500-600 a month. You can't really live on that, can you? Not properly.
In a
lot of people probably could, but it's not a fortune. There's nothing compared to what I was earning full time in London.
No, but I think that my total outgoings per month now are just under £300.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're fairly stationary where you are, aren't you? So I don't suppose you travel too far, do you?
This has been the other thing. The other benefit of this lockdown is how fucking little money I've spent in the last month.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, we've been able to save money this month, which is unheard of. You know, obviously when we were touring around Europe, obviously we did enjoy ourselves. I can't deny we did everything that we wanted to do. If we wanted to go out, we went out. So, and you know, we didn't hold back on spending. So I probably did spend more money than I budgeted in terms of doing that. I mean, I guess anything from £1,000 to £1,500 a month we were doing while we were touring around. But then we were doing everything that we wanted to do. Wow. You know? But you're right. That's what we're in lockdown. Literally, all we're spending is like shopping, and maybe a bit of LPG or whatever. So we're not spending anything at all at the moment.
Daz and Kim have asked what my income on YouTube is. My income on YouTube does vary, but this month it's probably going to be about £250, I reckon. Which I'm happy with that. I don't need it. I don't make videos for money, but I figured that if I can monetize, I might as well monetize, and it just puts fuel in the van or something. So actually, to be fair, this month projected, I think it's probably going to be just over 250. I think that should cover my bills this month, which is the first month ever. Because I've dropped some of the direct debits and stuff now that I don't need. I've got a cheaper phone contract and stuff. My monthly outgoings have reduced, but my income's come up. So for the first month ever, I can potentially say that I am a full-time YouTuber now. I've earned enough to cover my bills, and that's good for me.
When we looked at doing our trip, the one thing I didn't want to have to rely on the YouTube income. I didn't want it to be another job. So I mean, this was a means for me to retire, if you like, or take some kind of like semi-retirement.
Yeah.
I didn't want to feel like I had to work every day. So if I wasn't banging out a video, I wouldn't feel so bad about it, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't really want it to become a job. So what we did is we saved enough to pay ourselves for at least a year's worth of travel. Yeah. So we had savings to cover our income, so I didn't have to rely on the YouTube.
Yeah.
But obviously, having said that, what the YouTube has enabled us to do is to be able to extend that. So whereas we was looking originally at a year's travel, we've now been in the van for nearly 2 years now and could possibly continue a little bit longer. So yeah, it's fantastic. It's great.
I was going to ask you another question now, but I think I've lost it. I think I've lost what I was. Somebody asked me how much is your insurance? So we'll both answer that question. Mine's about £360 a year, I think.
Yeah, I'm probably exactly the same as you, about 340, I think mine is for the year. Yeah. It actually dropped £90 because we originally had to pay an additional premium to have 365-day cover for Europe, which I paid another £90 for. And this year, when I renewed it, they said they were going to include that for free. So it came down £90. And that's through the Caravan and Camping Club. Their club care policy, yeah.
Somebody's asked you a question. Rope from home is asking you. Oh, it's gone. I purchased the same water tank as you. Is it a 12 mil John Guest push fit to the tank connection?
No, it's 15 mil. So you need a 15 mil fitting, and then get a 12 to 15 stem reducer to push into it to reduce it down to 12, and then push your pipe into that. You need 2 fittings.
There you go. I'm glad you asked Greg that question.
I did notice there was a comment here. Someone asked me, I originally designed my van to carry a motorcycle. Why have I not done that? Now, this is a bit of a story as to why we started Vanlife in the first place. Because, as you know, I'm massively into my motorbikes. I've always had motorbikes since I was a kid. And the whole reason I initially built the van was so that I could put a bike in it and do track days and go to the Isle of Man TT and things like that. we were never going to do van life, not full-time van life. The van originally, when I was going to build it, was just for me to play around with me toys and enjoy myself on weekends and things like that and go off with me motorbikes. So, because I've always wanted to go to the Ironman TT, I've tried booking it a few years. Maybe I just haven't booked it early enough because I think you have to book it a year in advance. I could either get the accommodation, but I couldn't get the ferry crossing, and there was always something in the way that stopped me from going. I thought, great, if I build a van, I'll chuck my bike in the back of the van. I've got somewhere to live, somewhere to take the bike. I can go over there a few weeks before the event, camp over there for a couple of months, and kill two birds with one stone. So that is the main reason why we decided, or why I decided to build the van initially. It was a purely selfish thing on my part. And then while we was doing the research in the build and watching everybody else's van life videos and all that kind of thing, it just started flicking the switch in the old head to think, well, hang on a minute, we could do something more than just like play around with a few bikes here. We could actually quit work and go off travelling. So, and that's how that kind of came about. And then I had to try and convince Lou because she was dead against it. She wanted no part of it at all to start with.
How did you manage that transition then into getting your missus to come on board?
Yeah, because I mean she'd never done camping before, so she was totally against the idea of slumming it, really, if you like. Because not that van life is slumming it, but she didn't like it.
To be fair, it is.
She just didn't like the idea of it. If it didn't have an ensuite bathroom, she weren't interested. So it took quite a bit of convincing, and we hired a van. Just for a week, for a long weekend, just to try it out. And it was a van which had a toilet and shower in it. And we just went off camping in a hired van just to try it out. Yeah. And I think that's what swung her around.
The Boondockers have asked, which channels did you watch before you started? Vanlife channels?
Yeah, there was a few actually. Travel with Jess, he's a New Zealand guy, he's an electrician. He done a brilliant van conversion, and I followed him. There's another guy, Tim, the restoration couple. They've got a couple of young daughters. He does a lot of work on his house. He's restoring a house that they live in, but he also did a van conversion. That was another channel, really good one that I followed. And David, Cruising the Cup. He was a bit like yourself, actually.
He's the one I watched.
Yeah, lived on a narrowboat. You probably watched him as well, yeah? He's a brilliant guy, yeah. And then he's done his van conversion. He's got his van channel as well.
Yeah.
And one of the other ones, which I did watch as well, is Rick Van Man. I know he's a bit of an acquired taste, I think, but I watched his channel as well, and I think he's got what, 100,000 subscribers now, and he's built about 2 or 3 vans. So yeah, they're the people that I watched.
Well, what's his name now? Dan, Narrowboat Dan.
I haven't seen too many Narrowboat People. I think Dave's one of the few people that I watch, but it's very similar though. I mean, there's a bit of a crossover between that and van life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Using 12-volt electrics, cassette toilets and all that kind of thing. So, and a lot of the marine stuff, boat stuff, is really handy for when you're doing your van build as well. I mean, I've sourced loads of my stuff in my van from marine wholesalers, isn't
it? But when, like I was saying before, like first of all, my original plan was to live on a boat, and Cruising the Cut was one of the ones that I learned about boat engines, all the electrics and everything. And then, as you've said, the transition to a boat isn't too dissimilar, really. I knew more about cars and car engines and
sure.
Anyway, but as far as cassette toilets and 12-volt electrics,
12-volt electrics and all that, yeah, exactly, yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah. I just see Mel's comment now. He said, "Greg, watch my videos. You'll learn everything." I do like Mel's channel. I do follow that. It's really, really fun, really entertaining. He cracks me up. He does.
So I say this a lot, but I don't actually watch many van life channels.
It's finding the time, though, isn't it? I know you bang out some content, so you must be constantly editing all the time.
So the reason why I banged so much content out was because of this lockdown. I needed something to occupy my brain, and also I wanted to try and occupy some people that
Yeah,
watch.
absolutely. Yeah. I
So
know you've probably noticed the same as I have. There's been quite a big upturn in the number of views because obviously people are searching for something to watch. It's understandable. You're sitting there with nothing to do, twiddling your thumbs, which is why I've got a list of videos here that we're going to put out.
Yeah.
I've put a couple out this week already, which are normally I would only do one a week. It would only be on a Friday's my normally upload day. So yeah, I'm definitely going to put some videos out if they're helpful to other people and it passes a bit of time, keeps me occupied. So it's all good, isn't it?
Live chats have been really good as well because I usually, before the lockdown, I probably did a live maybe sometimes once a month or maybe once every couple of weeks. And they're quite good because the other thing is with the income thing, if people use the super chat thing, it's kind of like a bit of an instant bonus. So when you do lives, you for the money side of thing, you can do that. But also during this lockdown, I'm so glad that I found this website so I can do these joint lives because these are
just more interesting. I know we've been nattering to each other, and unfortunately, sorry to everybody who's been watching, but we haven't really been taking too much note of your questions and comments. So I apologise about that because obviously there's been a lot of interaction between us, but I hope you found it to be interesting anyway.
But also, me and you probably would never have sat down for an hour and had a conversation, an uninterrupted conversation like this. So it's actually been good for me and you, to be fair. Like, screw everybody else. We've had a good chat about it. Like,
but there's only, like we were saying right at the very beginning of this, I mean, other than shaking your hand and saying hello, I think we haven't had a conversation of any kind of length at any of the meetups and that. You're busy with other people and whatever, and you just don't get the time to get round to everybody. And
to be honest, I'm kind of sick of hearing your name because all I get all the time is are you going to get Greg on? Are you going to get Greg on? Or if I'm talking about bands, oh, do you know that Greg? And I was like, well, I kind of know him, but I don't want to say that I know him because I don't really know him. But we know each other sort of. So now I probably know you now, so I can probably say, yeah, I know Greg. Yeah.
This is really unusual for me because, as everybody knows, I don't do lives, but not on my channel anyway. So yeah, it's unusual to get me in front of the camera like this.
Somebody said, do you get more from PayPal or Super Chats? So you get more from PayPal because if you send a donation through friends and family, I would get 100% of that. If not through friends and family, I think PayPal take about 4 or 5%. Super Chats, they take 40% from what I got.
There's a big chunk on the Super Chat, isn't it? I mean, I wouldn't advise using Super Chat if you do want to make a donation to somebody. Use PayPal donation because the person gets 100% of the donation, doesn't they? So definitely better.
I always leave the super chat option on because it's easy. It's easy for some people to just do a super chat, and I don't do this for the money. One of the other things that with this website that we're on now, I didn't realise that I'm on a free trial sort of thing where I only get so many hours per month. Otherwise, I pay for it, and I'm running out already. So I am going to have to start paying for this if I'm going to do more of them. So if anybody did donate, that's kind of what it would go on. If you know what I mean. It's just subsidising, like you said. The YouTube revenue isn't your only income. It's just
not something that we rely on, and money that we have got. Like now, I've just reinvested in a new camera.
Yeah.
Only because I was getting quite a few comments about my camera work was pretty shit because it's shaking around all over the place because I'm holding the camera out here, and so anyway, I've invested in a new camera, and everybody will see that, but it's got some good video stabilization, so hopefully that'll improve my videos.
Which camera?
I've just got the Osmo Action. I think you use one, didn't you?
I've got it here.
Yeah. I just bought one for myself.
I really like it actually. I used to have a bigger camera set up, like a DSLR camera with the tripod.
Yeah, that's what I'm using at the moment, but it's just too bulky when you're trying to hold it.
I've not got the tripod on it at the minute. It's in the front. I've been using it because I've got. This is another thing. I've got the little GoPro mounts and stuff.
Yeah.
I've got them dotted around my van permanently, so I can just film from any angle. Like I can leave my camera up there and record from that angle, or I've got one on the dash and all that kind of thing. So, and again, that you can just throw them around and they're not. There's nothing to them. So.
You saying about going back to like YouTube relying on the income and things like that. I mean, I've always been adamant that I wouldn't do Patreon and things like that, because then I think it then becomes a job. I kind of feel beholden to put content out. At the moment, I'm not charging anybody to watch my channel. I give everything away for free. All the information that I put out there, people can watch for nothing. And that's the way I want it to stay. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to get caught up into selling PDFs and kind of like turn it into another job. And then particularly with Patreon, having to put a video out early to give those something over and above people who are not paying for it. So
I feel really
down that route, because I wouldn't want to be under the pressure to put the content out in the first place. And not be funny, I don't want it to be a job. I want it to be a hobby, something that I can do that if I help a few people out along the way, then all well and good.
Yeah. Hold on, just do an OnlyFans. I'm not going to do an OnlyFans. No, I'm all right for that. Yeah, StreamYard is subscription based. But I can't fault. I'm so glad that I found this when I did, because these, like I just said, these live chats have been brilliant, and some of the people that I've had on have just, well, you saw.
Like 2 or 3 of your other ones were really good. I just this morning actually watched the one with Mel.
Yeah, she was great.
That was really good. Yeah, really
good. Has anybody any more questions for Greg? I said I'd limit this to an hour, but we've gone over a little bit. But we've kind of got a good momentum. So if anybody wants to ask Greg another question, I don't know if you're in a rush, but we'll try and keep going for a little bit longer.
Yeah, no problem, mate. I've got time.
One benefit of living in a van is you should be able to go anywhere on house arrest. Yeah, that's true also.
Well, yeah, you're in your own house, isn't it? But obviously, I can totally understand how that would come across to people who are stuck in their home.
Yeah.
So I can totally see that would wind people up. So, yeah, we're not going to be moving around.
We've had a lot of people, obviously, a lot of people know, who follow my channel at least, that we've been here pretty much the entire lockdown. I think the day that
you were there before the lockdown, weren't you?
I was here.
Moved there as soon as they announced it.
I was here the weekend before, but then I went back to Stoke to work that week, and then the Monday they announced the proper lockdown. The Tuesday I came here, and I've been here ever since. And in the last 3 days, we've had such good weather that I've had my hammock out, and I've just been editing videos, filming really nice stuff, walking and that. And some of the locals or people are out here have been looking down on us because it looks like we're on holiday. And in some ways, it kind of felt like
you kind of give that impression, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose. I mean, have you must have had offers from some of your subscribers to, for park ups and things like that? Have you?
Yeah. I've had a few. But
is that something that you considered at all? Or?
I would consider it if it was somewhere that I knew and somebody that I knew. And also, we've had safety in numbers up here, and I wouldn't like to be locked down on my own. I know that when there's more than one of you in a van, being locked down is probably hard enough. But when it is literally just you, somebody offered me a field up in Scunthorpe, in the middle of nowhere. It looked amazing. I looked on Google Maps. There wasn't a house for miles, but that would have just been me. And I can't do that. Like,
go stir crazy then on your own, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
You start drawing faces on footballs and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, even on this camp now, we've got a shoe. We found a shoe around it. We've got a name and everything now. It's got its own Instagram.
Yeah.
Greg, have you still got a bike? Somebody's asked.
I have a very, very small one though. I've got a Honda little Z50 little monkey bike. It's the only one. It's the only one I kept, only because I could chuck it in the back of the van. It actually fits underneath the bed really well. Yeah. So if I need to, I've got a little 50cc little de-restricted monkey bike that I could rag around if I wanted to.
Yeah, a friend of mine's got one of those. I saw it in the garage a few weeks ago. I'm going to try and get it.
Yeah, they're really handy just to zip around on. You look like a complete idiot on it, but yeah. I'm really tempted to. Well, if the lockdown gets lifted and we're allowed to move about, I'm so tempted just to get another bike, just to have a blast, because I do miss them, to be honest.
It's been something that I've been wanting to do for years, to get a bike, and I've been so close, and then something's always come up, and then obviously I had a child and stuff, and I was like, well, I don't know if I can afford to realistically run a bike and a car, and then I just never got round to it. But it is on my bucket list.
Yeah, it's something that I had a big break from it. I did it when I was a kid, from like early age, and then obviously then got a car, and then the bikes went by the wayside because it's just warmer. And then I come back to it later in life once the kids have grown up and left, and I had some spare disposable income, went back to bikes. Yeah, but love it. Yeah, love being out on the bike.
Liam, do you still have a BMX? No, I don't have a BMX anymore, unfortunately. I sold it earlier, mid last year, because I went on a Scotland trip 2 years ago. Just under 2 years ago, I went on a trip to Scotland on a BMX trip around various skate parks. I fell off whilst I was in Perth and knocked myself out, and then had to continue the rest of the Scotland trip. In fact, I knocked myself out, came round, tried to continue the journey best I could, got to Inverness, and then had to go to hospital because I was fucked. But I drove that far and then just had to go to hospital. So basically, I didn't really ride my bike much after that because it affected my job, affected my ability to be a dad, and all these things. So I had to sell it, and it's been 20 years since I started doing that.
Did you used to do it competitively? Were you sponsored at one stage?
I was sponsored by like a few companies, not on a massive scale, but like I used to get free parts from various people. In fact, when I was younger, more, but then as I got in the last few years, I used to get parts for free and clothes for free and stuff like that. I was never that good. I don't know. I was all right, but I used to fall off sometimes. What do you both do for a living to support full-time van life? Well, Greg's semi-retired now. It's just in fact, let you explain it, Greg. Probably somebody missed that one.
Yeah, initially before we left work and before we left our house and moved into the van full time, we both had really good full-time jobs. I was working in London. We were on a good income, so we were able to save quite a bit. So initially we tucked quite a lot of money away in the bank, and that was going to be our travel fund basically. So that was going to at least fund us for a minimum of a year, maybe a little bit more. And then obviously since building up the YouTube channel, we get a small income from the ad revenue off of there. We also get a small income from affiliate links for products and things like that. So if you guys click on any of our links, it doesn't cost you any more at all, but we get a little kickback from that as well. So I get a small income from that. And then occasionally I will take on a contract. Like last year when I was in Cambridge, we came back to the UK and we were in Cambridge. I did it. Air compressor kicked in. Yeah, I picked up a contract and I was running an office refurbishment project in Cambridge, right near the station there, which was a 12-week contract.
Wow.
And it paid me some good money. In fact, it paid me enough in that 3 months for us to travel for another year.
That's good. Brilliant. And I don't really know what my job title is, but I kind of do like networking, audio and visual, electrical stuff, and also again I've got the little bit of YouTube income, and also I sell coffee and merchandise on my website. So really, I've got, up until the lockdown, I had a reasonable income, but things have obviously, luckily, I've saved some money, so I don't really need to work at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, if people are looking for something that they can earn an income from while being mobile, and that merchandise is one thing, and it t-shirts, for instance, and stuff like that. Because now there's companies out there that will do everything for you. You create a free shop and a free account. They deal with the printing, the shipping, all the paperwork and everything else. You obviously have to publicise it or promote it, if you like. But that's something that anybody could get into if you've got a bit of an artistic flair and you can design a few T-shirts. You know, that's one thing that somebody could do quite easily.
Liam and Martin next interview. They're not meant to be interviews, by the way. It's just that I was reading some of Greg's comments on his community tab earlier, and it sounded like people thought I was going to give him a hard time. And I don't give people a hard time. We just have a laugh. But so I tried to like make this one a bit more informative. But I've asked Martin already. Me and Martin have talked about it, and as soon as he's got a stable internet connection, then I'll get him on.
Yeah, he's got a very poor internet connection at the moment where he's parked up, and I think he has to walk up to the top of a hill to just get a phone signal or something.
Yeah. So as soon as Martin's ready to do that, then we'll do it. I've got a few other people lined up, although I'm not sure I've got a new person every night, but I kind of think it might be good to just do some on my own as well, have a break. And I didn't do it live last night, and I didn't upload a video last night because this fucking iPad updated and wouldn't work again. But I managed to get it working again at about 6:20. Downloaded the footage that I needed, edited the video, then did all the shit on YouTube Studio and got it up for just about 7 o'clock. So I was in a mad rush tonight. So we'll get back on it.
I mean, going on from the income thing, I think I can emphasise the fact that YouTube, if you want to do it, it's definitely a labour of love. It's not something that you're going to be rich at doing.
No.
Unless you're in the millions and millions of followers. It's something that we do because we enjoy it. I mean, the amount of hours that I put into it, and I know you probably do as well, far exceeds the amount of cash that we get for it.
Yeah, and we're not even talking anywhere near minimum wage. Like probably less than an hour's wage per day equivalent. When I spend all day filming, spend all evening editing, and then putting the content out, and then these lives as well. So basically, from all my afternoon up until 10:15 now has been YouTube. So it is like a full-time job without the full-time.
Yeah, because as well as obviously filming and editing, once they're up, it's then all the social interaction with everybody and the Instagram and answering everybody's questions, and
again, that's the other thing. Once this live's finished, I'm then going to go answer
read all the comments.
Crazy. Anything else?
But then it enables you to do the things that we're doing now. So it enables us to travel, see places, meet people. We wouldn't have had that opportunity if we weren't doing it.
You wouldn't have got to meet me if it wasn't for YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, I've met fucking so many people like the last couple of years. It's been crazy.
Oh, that's been for us. That's been the best part. Some of the people that we've met have just been absolutely fantastic.
In fact, the other things that it's sort of when I was out of work for a few months over Christmas, and I wouldn't have picked up the work that I'm doing now if it wasn't for somebody from YouTube that said, "Oh, actually, I've got some work for you." And so things like that, like people just saying, "Oh," even down to, "Oh, I've got a shower if you need to use it," or if you need to top up your water at my house, you can do that. And stuff like that's priceless when you're on the road.
Oh, totally. Yeah, we've had some fantastic offers from people, and so grateful as well. We're on our travels. People have emailed us and said, if you're in the area, please pop in. We'd like to show you around and things like that. Yeah, it's been brilliant, and we've made some really good friends that way.
Absolutely.
I mean, Roy's a classic case. He reached out to us on our first trip. Said he'd been following the channel. He was building a van. If we were north of Porto, would love to meet up with you, show you the van and things like that. That's how that started. We literally went round on the Saturday morning, met the guys, had a look at his van. He said, "Oh, please stay for lunch," which we did, and then we ended up leaving on the Monday morning. Wow. So yeah, they were just fantastic. It's really, really lovely people. And then obviously we've been back, and he's helped us when we needed it, when we were coming out during the lockdown. So it worked out to be, he's turned into be a really good friend.
Coffee brand idea. Viagra blend. Yeah, I might try and make a Viagra blend. I'm not sure I need that just yet, but for when I get a bit older, maybe. Keep the videos, you inspire people. Dream of doing what you do. Thank you. That's a really nice comment. The time and effort put into the Alida shoe review was more than the shoe's worth. Absolutely, maybe. Absolutely. 7 hours per video, filming, editing, uploading, and answering comments. Probably not far off that. And then you make probably a pittance from that.
No, I mean some of my vlogs, my tour videos, I find really difficult to do. To be honest, the workshop stuff I find really intuitive. If you're describing how something works or whatever, it's a pretty straightforward process. You've only got one thing to do. But trying to make the trips abroad interesting for other people, I find really difficult. And some of the videos, even though they're 15-20 minutes long, they've taken me 3 days to just edit that into something that I'm semi-happy with. Yeah, I really struggle with those. I'm nowhere, I'm not a filmmaker, photographer, or anything. I'll be the first to admit that. So yeah, I do find those ones really difficult to put together.
But what you're doing seems to be paying off, whereas what I'm doing is a bit of more of a hard slog. You're doing really well, and I'm like, come on, come subscribe to my channel, please.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that's massively gone in my favour is the technical stuff.
Absolutely, and that is not me.
And by far, those videos outstrip all the other videos on the channel. 4 or 5 times the views on the technical videos, and the vlogs, get a couple of thousand views. But I totally understand that. I wouldn't watch them myself, to be honest.
and that's the other thing. Imagine I did a bit of I did a bit of filming today while I was out and about. This is the reason why I don't watch van life videos. Is that why would I want to watch somebody sat in their van talking about doing the washing? And that's exactly what I'm doing. So it's bizarre, really, because I probably wouldn't watch my own videos.
It's interesting to see I mean, you don't get the time to watch loads and loads of people, but I do try and dip in and dip out of other people's channels just to see what they're putting out and what content's going on, and even just to get tips and advice from myself on what looks good, for my own videos.
And steal their ideas.
Kind of, yeah.
That's the only reason I watch Ash's videos, so I can try and steal what he's doing.
Yeah, he's very watchable, to be honest. I mean, it's like you watch his videos and there isn't really a lot happening, but you just engrossed in it. It's like a fly on the wall thing, isn't it?
Watching his missus chop wood for fucking. I was like, what the fuck have I just watched? But really enjoyed watching it.
Yeah.
It's mental, but obviously everybody knows I've got a lot of love for Ash, and yeah, he's doing really well, and I'm glad he is. He deserves it. You can fuck off with your smiley faces, also, Ash. Thank you. But yeah, it is amazing how sometimes you can put the least amount of effort into a video and it do really well, but then you can put out a video, put hours into it. In fact, one of the videos I put out last week was the video where I was jokingly built a nightclub inside my van to entertain me while we were on lockdown and all the pubs were closed. It took me about 4 hours to film that.
Yeah.
And it's my least popular video this month.
Mm-hmm.
And then tonight's video, I filmed the police for a little bit, talked for 6 minutes, and it's doing better than probably my previous 3 videos. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously really topical on your channel at the moment, isn't it, with the police and that, I suppose. What's your view on clickbaity thumbnails and things like that?
I sometimes get accused of using clickbaity thumbnails. However, as long as the thumbnail and the title matches the content of the video, I don't think that's clickbaity. I think that you can. I think that you can.
Relevant.
Yeah, it's relevant, but there are clever ways of being clickbaity and still make it relevant.
Yeah.
But I don't mind. I think that whatever gets the views in to try and win people around a little bit to what you're selling, essentially.
Yeah, at the end of the day, there's so much content out of there. You've got to make it look interesting, otherwise no one's just going to walk on past it, isn't
they? The comment that's just come up on the screen is a brilliant one. Replying to my comment about that I wouldn't watch my own channel. This person agrees that they wouldn't watch either, but Greg's here and so is Ash, so they've come to watch. I absolutely love YouTube, and I love YouTube comments. I think they're just so fucking funny. Yeah, I absolutely love some of the sort of when people try and be negative in your comments, end up being fucking hilarious or making themselves look stupid. That is my favorite thing by a million miles.
You must get your fair share of comments like that, I guess.
Well, again, from talking to other friends of mine, other YouTubers, I don't think I get as many as other people. Either that, or I'm just reading them all as positive, because I don't think really in a normal vlog I barely get any negativity at all. Probably none at all. In some of the police videos, I've had some people take it out of context and be negative, but again, probably 1%, if that, of people.
Yeah.
So
It's a small number then, isn't it? I suppose the people who are watching your videos know what your content's going to be like anyway, don't they?
They've probably already heard that it's shit, so they're just watching it to make them go to sleep. I don't know. I started watching your videos because I have a Master 2. It was great to see the trouble you got yourself into and out of. Just want to say thanks again for the live. Oh, Mr. W, no problem at all. Thank you for watching. In fact, we'll try and wrap this up because we're coming towards an hour and a half, and it is getting a bit long. But thanks to everybody for watching, and I apologise that we've not been able to get through everybody's comments, but I
just want to say as well, obviously, to everybody who's been on here and come along to interact with us, that, yeah, apologies, guys, because we've been nattering on and kind of like brushed past loads and loads of comments, but really do appreciate you watching the video.
Absolutely. So yeah, I hope that you have got something out of this, and thanks to Greg. Actually, if you ever want to say thank you to Greg for coming on, I really appreciate it. I know that you were reluctant to come on, probably because it's me, but also you don't do lives on your own channel anyway, so I appreciate that you've done it.
It definitely wasn't because it was you. It's just because I don't do lives. It's simple as that. You won't find a single live on my channel. It's just not one of those things I don't do. Maybe this is the turning point. Maybe this is where I start doing live.
It's funny because Mel from Pebbles and Peach said the same. She's never done a live on her van channel, but because she was scared of it. But then when she did it with me, she seemed, Yeah,
maybe it's the control thing, isn't it? Because obviously while you're videoing, you've got the power of editing and everything else. Yeah. You've got total control on what that turns out like at the end. But a live is a live, isn't it? So
yeah. If anybody hasn't hit the thumbs up button, by the way, somebody just highlighted the fact that not many people have. So if you're watching, hit the thumbs up button before we go. And yeah, all say thanks to Greg. Everybody is saying thanks to you by the looks of it.
No, I've enjoyed it, mate. It's been a pleasure coming on. So thanks for inviting me. You're
brilliant live, apparently, Greg. Good vlog, Liam. All credit to you. Thank you. But I couldn't have done it without Greg, and I couldn't have done it without you lot watching. So it's a team effort, really. Anyway, I'm going to end it now. I really appreciate everything and everybody. I'll see you all soon.
Thanks very much, Liam. Appreciate it, mate. Take care.